Rain crashed against the glass towers of Manhattan like it carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken stories. Inside the opulent Ambrose Hotel, where the marble gleamed under chandelier light and billionaires walked without seeing the ground beneath them, Gloria moved quietly, her mop swaying in silent dignity. She was 55, skin weathered by time and toil, but her back remained straight, and her soul unbroken. For 15 years, Gloria cleaned those corridors, arriving before dawn while the city still yawned. Her hands bore the marks of hard labor, but her heart remained warm. She was invisible to the world she served, a ghost in blue overalls. But she had a secret kind of wealth, integrity, earned wisdom, and an unshakable love for her son, Marcus. That Thursday began like any other. The sky hung heavy with gray, the streets whispered secrets only the poor understood. Gloria mopped the lobby, humming softly, when the roar of a Rolls-Royce shattered the calm. Julian Marlowe, the billionaire tech mogul, stepped out, wrapped in arrogance and designer wool. Julian stormed through the doors, shouting into his phone. "If the merger doesn't close by Friday, Peter, fire everyone. Do you hear me? Everyone." He stopped abruptly, his polished Italian shoes soaked by a thin puddle on the marble. His furious gaze fell on Gloria. "Are you blind? This floor is a hazard." Gloria looked up, calm but firm. "Sir, you walked past the caution sign. Kindly let me finish so no one else slips." He sneered. "You missed a spot, Grandma. Maybe it's time someone taught you real work ethic." Silence fell over the lobby. Guests, staff, receptionists, all froze. Gloria, gently setting her mop aside, stood tall. "Sir, being rich doesn't give you the right to humiliate others. I may be a janitor, but I work with pride. Respect is earned, not bought." Julian blinked. No one, had ever spoken to him like that. Without another word, he turned on his heel and disappeared into the elevator. The tension lingered like smoke. The manager pulled Gloria aside later, warning her with a tremble in his voice. "He's powerful. Don't poke lions." That evening, Gloria walked home soaked in rain, her shoes squelching, her spirit weighed but not crushed. She returned to her tiny apartment where Marcus, her pride, slept curled with his textbooks. She touched his forehead, whispered, "Everything I do is for you," and closed her eyes in exhausted prayer. The next morning, her alarm buzzed at 4:30 a.m., as it had for years. She brushed her thinning hair, packed a peanut butter sandwich, and left for work, prepared for reprimand or even dismissal. But something was off. A suited man approached her at the hotel entrance. "Ms. Gloria, Mr. Marlowe has requested your presence." She felt her heart stutter. "Am I being fired?" "No, ma'am." He said, "It's urgent." "And kind." She followed him in silence to the top floor. The presidential suite. The elevator doors opened to a palace in the clouds. Velvet furniture. A pianist in the corner. And Julian, standing by the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking human. He turned, eyes tired. "Thank you for coming, Gloria." She didn't smile. "If you called me here to apologize, you can say it and I'll leave." He shook his head. "Yesterday, you reminded me of my mother. She was a janitor. She raised me alone. Worked her fingers raw so I could learn code on an old laptop. I vowed to never forget her. But I did. I became one of the people she used to scrub floors for." Gloria's eyes shimmered. Julian stepped forward and held out a velvet box. Inside, keys. "What is this?" she asked softly. "A beachfront villa. Paid in full. In your name. Yesterday, you gave me a wake-up call more valuable than anything I've ever built." She stepped back. "I can't accept that. You don't owe me anything." He smiled. "But I do. You reminded me of who I was, and who I should be. Tears welled in Gloria's eyes. She thought of moldy ceilings and leaky faucets, of cold winters and unpaid bills. And suddenly, her knees gave in. Julian caught her gently, helped her to the couch. "I don't want to just change your life," he said, "I want to honor people like you. That's why I'm starting the Marlowe Foundation, for janitors, servers, housekeepers. People who matter." The next day, Gloria didn't mop. She stood on the hotel steps, blinking at the sun, as co-workers clapped and wept. Her son Marcus ran into her arms. When she told him the news, he fell to his knees and kissed her hands. "You never gave up, Mom," he said. "Even when the world stepped over you." They moved into the villa 2 weeks later. Ocean breeze, a porch swing, and the sound of gulls instead of sirens. Gloria planted roses and taught her neighbors how to budget, save, and never settle. She began mentoring young women, especially single mothers, reminding them of their worth. Julian visited often. Not as a mogul, but as a friend. They drank coffee on the porch and laughed. Once, he confessed, "That day, I thought I was teaching you a lesson. Turns out, you were teaching me." The media caught on. News of Gloria's story touched hearts across the globe. Her courage became a symbol. Julian's foundation raised millions. But Gloria? She remained humble. "I didn't do anything extraordinary," she told interviewers. "I just remembered my worth." And above her fireplace, framed in gold leaf, were the words. "Your uniform may be simple, but your soul is not. Never bow to disrespect." In the end, it wasn't wealth or power that changed the world. It was the quiet strength of a janitor who refused to be invisible.